Brad Coons. I'm in an undisclosed location. And since I'm here, my wife had to put the boys to bed.
Yeah, it's Prezi.
Perfect.
Yeah. I know we taking a dub, cause I've been dying to win. We champions, we champions. Eyes on the prize, cause I know that it is mine to win. We champions, we champions.
Hey guys, it's Brad Coons, and last night my wife definitely put the boys to bed because yesterday was my mom's 75th birthday, and my brother and my sister and I kind of surprised my mom with a little social distancing birthday extravaganza. You know, we were very responsible and had our masks on and everything, and today I am in my hometown of Carlisle, Illinois, where I am sitting here at Chatty Daddy's Barbecue, picking up lunch for my mom as a nice little birthday day after celebration before I head back. So that's where I'm shooting at from today. Today is Shout Out Saturday, and I'm very excited about today because we got a lot of good things going on. We're going to introduce our trivia section today, which is going to be good, and our concept of this ultimate tournament of story time. I'm very excited about that. So without further ado, let me explain what a Shout Out Saturday is. First off, as a coach, after every practice and every game, I have my players do a shout out. And what they do is we just ask for people to talk about something positive that somebody else did that day. And so the reason that I do that is because I think it's a very important skill, especially for a team, to recognize when their teammates do something positive. And it's also important to look for good things that people are doing around you. And so that's one reason. The other reason is, as a player, if you're working hard, you don't always get the recognition. And I think that, you know, the ability to hear something positive from your teammates, that makes a big difference. So that's why we do it. And so today, you know, this might be the theme for a while for our Shout Out Saturdays, but I want to talk about things that are getting us through the quarantine. Okay. So I have 3 shout outs today, and that'll be the standard procedure on Saturdays. The first one, all right. One thing that I have done probably the last 10 nights in a row is that I have gone onto Instagram Live, and I've opened up the live account of Ed Reed. And Ed Reed, for those of you that don't know, was my teammate in 2000 and 2001. And he and Reggie Wayne, who was my teammate as a true freshman in 2000, they do this thing called 8720 Cigar Lounge. And it's a Instagram Live. You can go on there. Ed's there every night. Sometimes Reggie's on there. And they're smoking cigars, and Ed Reed is a DJ, and he is playing some really good music, and it is just a good time. And you know, the thing about those two guys is, you know I didn't necessarily get to be around them a whole lot, but in the time that they were with me at Miami, or the time I was with them, they made a huge impact on me, whether they realize it or not. So one thing I'll tell you is, you know, as a freshman and a redshirt freshman, being far away from home, you know, Miami and Carlisle, Illinois are a long way away from each other, and, you know, both, I would say both culturally and time-wise, distance-wise. And, you know, there were times that I was really, really homesick, and times that I was going through stuff in college. And it just seemed like every time that I was going through something where, like, I was, you know, I wouldn't necessarily say depressed, but maybe on the verge of being depressed, and not being happy, somehow or another, I would end up somewhere. Ed Reed would be there, and he would just talk. We would just talk, and there's something about that man, that he is a leader that cares about people to such a deep level that it's kind of an unspoken thing that he cares about everybody he comes into contact with. And during this time period when people are stressed out about what's going on and everything that's happening and everything's changing, going to his channel and just hearing his voice, hearing the music he's playing, just kind of being a part of that, kind of brings back the feelings I had when, I lived with Bryant McKinney and Jeremy Shockey and Kyle Cobia, a couple of my teammates, and they threw parties every once in a while, and somehow I felt like I would always end up sitting there talking to Ed Reed, and he would just make life better. I mean, it just kind of made life better for me. And so Ed's a phenomenal guy. He has a foundation, which I'll put the link in the comments below so that you guys can check it out. He's got some good things going on. He's coming up with his own cigar line. He's got really cool gear on his website for sale that's going to be for his foundation. And what he's doing with this foundation is really cool. His hometown of St. Rose, Louisiana, he's building a park and doing some other things for his hometown. So make sure you check that out. And Reggie, the thing I'll say about Reggie Wayne is he is going to be a Hall of Famer, but he was always the most, I'm not going to say underappreciated, but his senior year when I was there, he was the workhorse. He won Strength Conditioning Athlete of the Year award, which I was lucky to win in 2004. He was just a great role model of how to work and not necessarily worry about what recognition you get, because I believe he's the Miami Hurricanes all-time leading receiving yards and maybe receptions, one or maybe both. And his whole senior year, he was a dynamic duo with Santana Moss, and everybody talks about Santana Moss. Santana Moss was a top 10 Heisman vote winner that year, and Reggie was putting in a lot of work and not necessarily getting the recognition. And the way he worked, the way he persevered, the way he made himself into just a phenomenal football player and human being, man, if you go and log on to Ed Reed's Instagram Live, just the vibes feel positive. And there are rules. You can't ask questions about football. It's not about football. But Ed will talk to people, and you can bring up stuff, and it's definitely a good time. So make sure you check it out. And again, my first shout out ever is going to go to the GOAT, Hall of Famer Ed Reed, and Reggie Wayne, who is soon to be Hall of Famer. All right, and the other cool thing about that is you never know who's going to stop by in that live feed, and it's just a really cool thing. So there's my first shout out. Now my second shout out is going to be who actually Ed Reed started. I think that Cigar Lounge thing. I don't know for sure or not, but to shout out to our nurses and our first responders and all of our people that are still working through all of this and getting us through this. And the thing I'm going to say is my shout out is going to be for our nurses and first responders. And today we are very fortunate to have some of my former athletes that have gone on to do great things in college. They have gone on to join either the nursing field or the fire department, and are doing big things to help us right during these times. So I'm gonna let them talk to you guys for a little bit here, and then I'll come back after we hear from them and talk about them a little bit and how great people they are.
Hey everyone, everyone. My name is Ijama Gomo, former student athlete at Plano High School. Just briefly wanted to get on here for Shout Out Saturday. I know Coach Coons for about almost 10 years now. He was my basketball coach my freshman year in high school, and then was also my track and field coach from my freshman year throughout my high school career, and then kind of carried forward when I did track in college. So me and Coach Coons have a really close relationship, and he's kind of been a mentor / friend for me even after college. I'm currently working here in downtown Indianapolis at our university hospital as a nurse assistant. Just briefly want to talk about kind of what's going on with this pandemic. It's been a little bit crazy. Every day is something different. One day I'll come in and I might have 4 patients because no one can get any surgeries that are not elective. They have to be of serious cases only. And so some days I might have 4 patients, some days I might have 8. So right now this time requires us a lot of patience and a lot of flexibility, and I think that's something that we all are trying to do right now. We have to take every day, one day at a time, step by step, and it really requires us to be really, really flexible. So I hope you guys are staying flexible, staying patient, remaining positive, because that's only going to help us take care of you guys. And I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves at home. Stay safe, wash your hands, and stop the spread of COVID-19. So thank you guys.
Hi, my name is Jackie Shane. I am a mother-baby nurse at Rush Copley Medical Center here in Aurora, Illinois. So my favorite part about having Coach Coons be my coach early on in high school and a huge influencer later on in high school was that he always believed in you. No matter whatever you set your mind to, if you had second thoughts about anything in your mind, he believed in you and he believed that you could accomplish it. I probably wouldn't be the runner I am today without Coach Coons pushing me to do track towards the end of my high school career. And I'm so thankful he did, because I ended up loving it. I now am pursuing a part-time career as a sub-elite runner out of Chicago. So I'm so thankful for him, and I'm so thankful for just his personality and how he associates himself with everybody. So things are different at the hospital and just in life in general, being a new nurse. Of course, I was having to adjust to being a new nurse already when I got hired at Rush, and now I'm having to adjust to a pandemic. So my tips for everyone is to just be smart, be safe, wash your hands, and take care of yourself.
All right, so that was Ijama Gomo and Jackie Shane, who were both athletes for me. They both played on the same freshman basketball team when they were freshmen, and I was lucky enough to coach them both in track. And Ijama went on to be a triple jumper at Central Michigan, and she is currently in her grad year. She would have been triple jumping at Indianapolis this year, where she is finishing up to become a nurse. And Jackie Shane, who played softball her whole life, talked her into doing track a little bit, and she finally jumped on. And she's a tremendous distance runner who made it to nationals at the D3 level. I believe was athlete of the year at her school at AU. So if not athlete of the year, at least athlete of the season. So just a phenomenal 2 people that care a great deal about, and they have big things ahead of them, and we are really appreciative that they took the time to check in with us with all that's going on with the COVID-19. I had a couple other of my former players lined up. Both of them are EMT firefighters, and unfortunately they were unable to get the video to me in time, but we are going to move ahead. Deadlines, right? So we're going to hopefully get them on another time so they can talk. But we're going to switch gears before our third shout out. Right now we're going to go to our guys at the KLTS Sports Talk. Okay, we'll have their Twitter in our comments below. They're going to handle our trivia questions. Okay, it is baseball season. Hopefully we got some baseball fans out there. I'm not too fond of the team that they're talking about because I am a Cardinals fan, But they do have a good trivia question for us. So we appreciate those guys. We appreciate them being on board. And you can answer the trivia questions in the comments below. Or you can answer them on my Twitter or their Twitter account whenever we post it on Twitter. Again, the prize, I'm not sure what it's going to be. I promise it's going to be something worthwhile for you. Everybody that answers it correctly will get their name in a drawing. And yeah, once we figure out what we're doing with this whole trivia thing, this was kind of a spur of the moment thing that I had idea, and I'm looking forward to it. So I'm going to turn over to our boy, Wilson's cousin, Franklin.
Hey guys, Franklin here. I'm super excited to be here tonight, and I want to thank Brad for inviting me and choosing us for your trivia portion of the show. Since it is baseball season, let us start off with a baseball-related question. In 1990, which Chicago Cub was intentionally walked for a record-breaking 5th time, and who was the opposing team's manager? Good luck.
Okay, so our third and final shout out is going to belong to you guys. And so what I'd like you to do is, if you have a shout out that you want to give, and maybe you want me to say it next week, or you want me to tweet it out, something like that, put it in the comments below, like the video, give a shout out to somebody who's doing something right now to help you get through this quarantine, okay? I know there are a lot of different opinions out there about everything going on, and there's so much information out there, some of it contradicting to each other, and we don't necessarily know exactly what to do. In the words of Ed Reed, stay home, okay? Be a grown folk and stay home. That's what I would say about that. So, and I'm sitting here 4 hours from my house, having just wished my mom a happy 75th birthday, obviously, but we were responsible with it, okay? But after that, I'm going back home and I'm staying home. So, so that is our third shout out. You get the shout out, and the shout out's kind of to you for watching as well. So, there's our third shout out. Now, we're going to transition, and we are going to see the brackets for the Tournament of Ultimate Storytime. And I am so excited. Ultimate Tournament of Storytime. I am so excited about this. This was kind of one of my original ideas for this whole thing, why I wanted to do it. First off, my father passed away last March, and my dad lived a very interesting life. You know, one of these days I'll tell his story on here, but my dad was such a great storyteller, and my whole life I sat and listened to him tell stories. And, you know, as a kid, you grow up and you love listening to the stories. And then you get to that age in high school where you've heard the story so many times that you get tired of it and you almost don't want to hear it. But then I was fortunate enough to have time with my dad while my boys were born and I was an adult, and I kind of soaked up every little bit of his stories that I could while he was here. But now I don't have the chance to really hear those stories anymore. So I'm telling these stories, first off because they're interesting, but also because, you know, I would love for my kids to be able to hear these stories anytime they want the rest of their lives, because you know, I was able to tell them through this this show. So thank you guys for putting up with me being in the car, sitting here waiting for my mom's food at Chatty Daddy's Barbecue Shack in Carlisle, Illinois. Make sure you stop by there and give them a shout out. Let them know you heard about them from me. So without further ado, here is the release of our bracketology. Peace.
All right, guys. So, like we just talked about, here we are, the ultimate tournament of story time, and we are unleashing the brackets. Now, each of the 4 brackets, as you're going to see on the screen, are names that I have been called by. So, during my youth, a lot of my friends called me the Coon Dog, which actually stemmed from Snoop Dogg. There was a guy that actually picked on me, but he ended up being a friend. He used to always say "coon doggy dog." So anyway, that's where that nickname started from. Cooney is what everybody in Carlisle calls me. That's what my high school coach called me, and because of that, that was my nickname for everybody. And then I went through a phase of my life where I was known as Big Coonsy. That's basically my whole professional career for the most part. And now mostly people call me Coach Coons. So those are the names of the brackets. So let's talk about who's in the brackets. Again, like I said, the title is going to be something that is, you can kind of get an idea from it, but the gist of it maybe, but it's probably not going to tell you the whole story. And you're going to vote on these, and the winner moves on, the loser gets told. Okay, so starting off, you can see here in the Coon Dog bracket, the 1 seed was Cole Bennett's football coach versus the scar on my eye. Ooh. Next, Joe Jones football, Florida Firecats, one of the teams I played for. What kind of story is going to be there? Next, the Fiesta Bowl field goal. All right, the dream I had as well. And meeting Coach Vass, the Make Defense Great Again podcast master. That was an epic meeting when we met for the first time back in college. Ooh, curveball. Okay. Next, 110s are serious versus being late to workouts. We got number 6 and number 11 here. Hanging with JP versus Peoria Pirates. Next, Zoe and Timmy versus autographs with teammates. Could be interesting. And then Globetrotter Horse, Canes on Patrol. And finally, Willis Sandals versus Gifts from My Sister. Okay, so that is the Coon Dog bracket. Okay, now we move down to the Big Coonsy bracket. All right, the number 1 story, meeting my wife. Okay, versus number 16, Isaac Bruce on the Ninja. Okay, number 8, Joe Jones track. Number 9, S&C Athlete OY, Athlete of the Year. Remember, these are Twitter votes. I can only use 25 characters for each of the poll items. Next, FSU Week Freshman Year versus Arkansas Twisters. Tony Baselli Barbecue versus Praying for a Touchdown. Plaxico Burris versus the Evansville Blue Cats, my first team I played for. Bush at the White House versus DJ Williams Football Camp. Hi, I'm Butch Davis versus the Rose Bowl Kneel Down. And then my 2 touchdown game versus Bald Guy of the Year. Okay, so a lot of really interesting topics there. Okay, moving over to the Coach Coons bracket. All right, number 1 seed, the birth of my twins. Okay, versus driving to the UF game. Number 8, missing my chance at Syracuse versus 9, the Ole Miss job. Number 5, basketball senior year versus number 12, the scar on my forehead, which you can see right here. I'll tell that story. Okay, next, number 4, Ali versus Hitman versus 13, Jim the Anvil. Be interesting, a little heart foundation going on there. Number 6, the 6th seed is Running Through the Smoke. Number 11 seed, Trinity Church Friends. Number 3, Where Was I on 9/11 versus 14, which is 5 professional touchdowns. Number 7, Don't Touch Dan versus number 10, My First Play. And then Sean Taylor KO versus I Blocked Roman Reigns. Ooh, that's a tough one right there. Okay, for a 2-15 matchup, what was I thinking on that one? And then the Cooney bracket. I wrecked Shocky's car versus Homecoming Page. Micron PC Bowl Trophy versus DeLand. Jay-Z and Beyonce versus Big Vern Walks. 11 Ball with the Goat versus Kicked from a Frat House. Coaches versus BC Lions. Dolphins and Scott Stapp versus intramural basketball. The Rock versus basketball at the Hecht. And then, the most controversial, I invented U-Hands versus Carlisle as a player and coach. So that is the 64 different stories that I'm ready to tell. I'm starting to record these now so that whenever the vote happens, I'm ready to release these on the next episode of My Wife Put the Boys to Bed. I hope that you enjoy this. I'm going to have this bracket available so you can reference it in the link or in the profile of our Twitter page and on the YouTube page. So hope you guys check it out. Hopefully you've subscribed, and I hope that you guys vote.
Okay, so that wraps us up for this Shout Out Saturday. Tomorrow we'll be back with a Scripture Sunday, and hopefully that'll be something worthwhile for some of you. Tomorrow night we will also release our first matchup in the is it Ultimate Tournament of Storytime Tournament? Either way, I don't know why. I've been hitting the head a lot, so sometimes I mix words up. But anyway, our first Storytime bracket, we will release the first matchup that will be voted on, and it'll get released tomorrow. And you guys will have 24 hours to vote on it. And so tomorrow is a Scripture Sunday. The story will be told on Testimony Tuesday. So yeah, please vote, please subscribe, please like, and help us promote this station, because we're trying to get some positivity here during this pandemic, and I really hope that I can be a source of that for you all. And that's it. Take care, comb your hair. Peace.
P-E-H-S. Yeah, it's Prezi. Perfect. Yeah. I know we taking a dub, cause I've been dying to win. We champions. Eyes on the prize, cause I know that it is mine to win. We champions. I know we taking a dub, cause I've been dying to win. We champions. Eyes on the prize, cause I know that it is mine to win. We champions. Won so many times, I don't even know what a loss is. 119th Street, y'all know who the boss is. People think they can beat us, well, no offense. Run the routes all you want, but we out here mossing. Fumble on their words when they try to talk to us. Swear we ain't the old East, look, it's the new us. Everybody lie down because we the truest. Y'all can try to go around but can't go through us, yeah. I know we taking a dub, cause I've been dying to win. We champions. Eyes on the prize, cause I know that it is mine to win. We champions. I know we taking a dub, cause I've been dying to win. We champions. Eyes on the prize, cause I know that it is mine to win. We champions. Always out here dropping dimes. Shout out to the quarterback. People try to tear down East, but we ignoring that. Y'all better look wide. Receivers out there for the pass. Defense can't touch us. Lob it up and we scoring that. Every single time we get down on the line, send them chills right down your spine. Watch your best, cause I got mine. Brothers out here, we gon' shine. All the challengers, that's a red flag. Why you lying? We cannot be beaten, that's a fact. We don't look behind. I know we taking a dub, cause I've been dying to win. We champions. Eyes on the prize, cause I know that it is mine to win. We champions. I know we taking a dub, cause I've been dying to win. We champions. Eyes on the prize, cause I know that it is mine to win. We champions.